Secondary market research supports businesses to collect existing information and data about the market they operate within. They do this to support decision making and the growth of the business. This video explores the common methods of secondary market research which are used by businesses, and is supported with a comparison of the key advantages versus the disadvantages of using secondary market research in business. When conducting market research, businesses have two main options. These are known as primary and secondary market research. Primary market research, which is also known as field research, is typically designed and conducted by the business itself with the aim of collecting brand new data and information based on the business. In contrast, secondary market research is commonly known as desk research, as it is based on collecting existing data and information which is already available either internally, such as the business's sales reports, or externally, such as information on the internet. Internet research, market reports, government reports, and internal sources are all commonly used methods of secondary market research in business. Let's explore these in more detail. Just Google it, a phrase I'm sure we've all heard at one point. But it's true, a quick Google search can provide a researcher with a wealth of information. However, knowing which sites are trustworthy and reliable is a conversation for another day. Conducting research on the internet can really support a business to gain insights into specific areas, such as the industry they operate within, or the activities of their competitors, to help them make informed decisions. The phrase internet research doesn't just relate to a quick Google search though. It actually encompasses a wide range of sources, which include information and data which is found in online news articles, on YouTube or social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and even scoping out a competitor via their website. When analysing competitors through internet research, it's likely a business will investigate a whole range of information and data, such as their product range, pricing strategies, and any promotions they are currently running, just to name a few. All of which can be accessed via the internet and social media to give the business a competitive advantage and insight into the strategy of their competitors. The use of internet research to collect data and information is usually free of charge, very quick and relatively easy to access, which is a huge benefit to businesses. However, as discussed earlier, there is a wealth of misinformation or fake news on the internet, so it's vitally important that the person conducting the internet research on behalf of the business is aware of this, and has the competence to filter out the unreliable sites to ensure the data and information is valid, reliable and trustworthy. Another useful method of secondary market research is market reports, which are usually specific to the industry which the business operates within, providing the business with a wealth of information and data. The typical information and data that can be found in market reports include relevant and up-to-date information about the trends, businesses and behaviour of consumers in a specific industry, all of which can be used by a business for many reasons, including identifying opportunities in the market, or analysing their own product portfolio against the trends and behaviours of consumers which were identified in the market report. Market reports are available in many formats. Some can be accessed free of charge, and some require the business to pay for access. However, it's important to be aware that whilst there are many reputable organisations such as Mintel who produce vast quantities of market reports, anyone or any organisation can essentially produce a market report. Therefore, it is important for businesses to be aware of potential bias or mistakes by the individual or organisation who produce a market report before utilising it to make a business decision. Fundamentally, the information and data found in market reports should provide detailed insights and provoke thought, but should never be taken as the gospel truth to base major decisions on. Alongside market reports, businesses may utilise reports and journals produced by trade and industry associations, such as the Advertising Standards Authority, who produce vast amounts of market reports for the marketing industry. Ultimately, market reports are an extremely popular method of secondary market research for businesses. This is because they provide vast amounts of data and information which is specific to the industry that they operate within, and can usually be accessed instantly for free or at a relatively low cost. Government reports are commonly used by businesses as they provide vast quantities of data and information. However, they tend to be more generalised and representative of the whole population rather than specific industries. Importantly, the information and data is typically free of charge, up to date and very quick to access, which is a key benefit to businesses who utilise government reports. An example of a government report which could be useful for small and medium-sized businesses is the Small Business Survey Report, which provides information and data about the performance of small and medium-sized businesses and the factors that affect their performance, including employment and turnover, ambition and expected future performance, and any obstacles to business success. Alternatively, businesses can access government reports which provide data and information about the average time it takes for a large business to pay its suppliers, or the proportion of payments that it does not pay on time. Businesses can even access data and information about a specific demographic, such as how much people aged 16 to 25 will be willing to work for, or what percentage of the population is of a certain age. Essentially, government reports exist to provide factual data and information to businesses of all shapes and sizes, which can be used to support decisions such as rates of pay, the target market, or what products a business develops and sells in the future. Internal sources of secondary market research refer to information and data which is already available within the business, such as sales reports from previous weeks, months or years, which support businesses to set forecasts and targets. Businesses can also use information and data about historic marketing activities. This helps them to develop future marketing campaigns by looking at what worked well and not so well in the past. In more recent years, the use of loyalty cards such as Tesco's Club Card has been a real revelation in terms of the data it provides businesses about their customers' buying behaviours, wants and needs. Initially, they provide businesses with a vast array of personal data when customers sign up, and then after that, businesses are able to track the shopping habits of each and every customer for what could be considered a relatively small cost, which is usually in the form of discounts and special offers, which tempt customers to sign up to the loyalty cards or schemes in the first place. As the internal sources of secondary market research that we've discussed are based on the business itself, it can be considered exclusive data and information which is specific to the business. Therefore, these insights aren't usually available to competitors, but it is accessible to the business itself at any point in time. However, it's very important to note that internal data is limited in its use, as it can become outdated quickly, and it rarely provides any information on the market as a whole. This is because it's so specific to the business. Therefore, it is commonly utilised by businesses, but also supported by additional methods of secondary market research when making a decision about the business's future. So now we've looked at the common methods of secondary market research, let's take a quick look at the advantages and disadvantages that it can provide to a business. First of all, secondary market research typically offers businesses a quick and easy solution when they require data and information. A lot of secondary market research is free of charge or cost effective, and it can provide businesses with industry insights which they may not have been able to find from primary market research. Also, secondary market research is often easier to analyse, or in some cases, it's already analysed for the business at a generic level, such as in market or government reports. However, it's very important for businesses to be aware of the disadvantages of using secondary market research. Unlike primary market research, which is collected first-hand by the business for a specific research purpose, secondary market research is not specific to the business. Therefore, it may be irrelevant or may not be reflected of the business, which must be taken into account before making decisions based on the findings. The age of the research is also a very important factor to consider. Today's business world is so fast-paced, therefore information and data can quite quickly become out of date. As secondary market research is mainly conducted by external parties, it's crucial for businesses to be wary of the potential for bias or inaccurate information in any forms of secondary market research. This is to ensure that they aren't misled in the decision-making process, and they should also consider who has funded the research. And finally, although a lot of secondary research is free or relatively cost-effective, access to certain data and specialist reports can be very expensive. So that's it, secondary market research explained. If you want to find out more about the purpose of market research or methods of primary market research, just head over to our YouTube channel and watch our videos where we go into depth and provide examples of these in action. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to Two Teachers YouTube channel for lots more business studies videos.